Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news as deals, transfers, again, look like they could be in jeopardy. We're talking Branthwaite and the confidence that Everton have now that they may keep the player. We've also got Zirkzee 50-50 in the air. And also, there's a lot being said tonight about Marcus Rashford again because his agent slash brother has made a comment that many people feel that really it's best when you say nothing at all. Basically saying that England miss Rashford. Is it best to just keep quiet when Marcus Rashford himself is meant to be on a quiet zone from social media as he tries to get himself back in form? But, you know, loose lips sink ships. I suppose we'll talk about that as well. What an evening it's been. Sorry it's a 10 o'clock show tonight, but I said we'd have an evening show. Been watching England, been watching Italy and Spain, and but it's great to be back with all of you tonight. So let's start off with where we're at. And I suppose, I want to talk about the Zirkzee deal. I mean, again, the development there is around the agent again. There's rumours that maybe Milan, if they take his brother, then he'll go to Milan, which apparently happened with Donnarumma. It just makes you feel the dirty, sinister side of football, the nepotism, I suppose, that Milan could still get Zirkzee if they sign his younger brother as well. I mean, what's going on? Do you want to play for Man United or don't you want to play for Man United? But let's start off with Branthwaite. So, look, the story with Branthwaite is, and there's a collective, really, in the last few hours about Branthwaite, but I'm going to take a story from the iPaper, which is based in the UK. But there are quite a few out there. I just plucked this one because I think it summarises it quite well. But Everton, obviously, Ornstein, David, said the other day that Everton do need to comply with the profit and sustainability rules. There's talk that they found a deal that they can do, I think it's with Aston Villa for a player, which would make them, you know, fine. Which means that they can then bargain with Manchester United more strongly because they don't need to sell Branthwaite before June the 30th and they can get more money out of us. Manchester United have apparently said, well, we don't have that money, so you can negotiate with us all you like, but we don't have that amount of money that you want for Branthwaite. So the story is that Everton are growing increasingly confident of keeping Jarrad Branthwaite. There is an unwillingness from Manchester United to raise their bid. Sources have indicated that Manchester United are looking for an indication from Everton that they will be willing to lower their price for Jarrad Branthwaite, but there is no chance of that. So, look, I mean, I don't know what people want to happen here. I even saw something earlier that Branthwaite has indicated to Everton that he's happy to stay at at Everton, and then I'm sort of like going, nah, like you've agreed personal terms with Man United. If you know, Harry Maguire didn't agree personal terms with Man United publicly before the £80 million deal. You've agreed personal terms with Man United. So there's something going on here. Like there's something going on here, and there's something fishy going on here because we can't agree personal terms with Jarrad Branthwaite because he's only just signed for Everton in the last 2 years. So if we've agreed personal terms with Branthwaite, it's because Everton have allowed us to speak to him. And if Everton have allowed us to speak to him, that means they want to sell him. And if he now stays at Everton because we don't give Everton enough money, don't pretend that everybody wanted him to stay at Everton. We've agreed personal terms. So that means Everton have let us speak to him and he's agreed personal terms with us. So if we do walk away from this deal, and it might happen, I just want to put my hand up and say, okay, we didn't get Branthwaite, we walked away, but let's not pretend that Branthwaite didn't do personal terms and Everton let us do that. You can't do personal terms with a player under contract unless the club lets you. So there was a willingness from Everton to sell him, and there was a willingness to come to Man United from Branthwaite. Whether we get him or not, that's known. So if he's wearing an Everton shirt next year, and they're all going, oh, Everton, you know, singing bloody Z cars, let's call it how it is. Everton have let us speak about him, and he's done personal terms according to credible reports. So if we walk away from this deal, we walk away from this deal. We can't pay a stupid fee because we haven't got the money to do that. Do I want to sign Branthwaite? Yes, I do. But if we can't do it, we can't do it. I don't want this club to bankrupt itself or put itself in stupid positions to sign one player. I really think that this player could be really useful for us and very, very transformative. But, you know, we're not weak if we have to walk away because they want stupid money. He's not worth more than 50 million quid. Everton can pretend he is. They can even say he is. But he's not worth more than 50 million quid. He's not even part of the bloody England squad. So, look, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I take most things with a pinch of salt because it's the transfer window and one day it's over and one day it's on. And, you know, what I would say is, just as a throwaway comment where I sort of have to go and throw away the key, watch this space with Todibo and Olise. That it's not over. Like, it looks like it's over and it may well be over, but it's not definitely over with Olise and it's not definitely over with Todibo. These are both players that Ineos want and it's not definitely over. It looks like it's over and it may well be over, and if it is over, then none of us are going to be surprised. But what I would say about Todibo and Olise is it ain't necessarily over yet, and that's all I can say. But on Branthwaite, I want him. I want him to sign for Man United, but not at the detriment of our absolute urgency to change what we are as a football club. We can't give him 200 grand a week and we can't give Everton 70 million, 60 million. We can't do it. Everything we're meant to be different to the Glazers. Look, we've kept Ten Hag, the Glazers would have sacked him. We bought Maguire for 80 million and gave him 190k a week. We can't do that with Branthwaite. We have to be something different. And if that means we miss out on players, but we draw a line in the sand, I said this morning, you know, if you give Everton what they want, United don't change. If you don't give Everton what they want and walk away, the whole industry goes, they're not fucking about. We're going to have to walk away from a deal. You might not like it, but we're going to have to walk away from a significantly public deal to change the opinion of everybody when they deal with Man United. If you want people to respect you and realise you're not a mug anymore, you've got to give evidence that you're not a mug. It's a bit like that story that we all know where, you know, the school playground bully is beating up on a kid and the kid fights back and knocks him out. Suddenly he's got respect from everybody. And we're going to have to publicly not do a deal. And it might be a case of biting your, you know, nose off to spite your face, but we're going to have to do that because you can't just say we're Man United and we're different. You've got to prove you're different. Saw someone mention Nico Williams. We can't pay a player of that age and quality so much due to Bilbao transfer policy. They pay him 250k a week, says Odd. And how was the piss? Oh, Evan. Also, that City Villa swap deal means they are not under pressure to do a deal by the end of June, says Rory C. What deal's that? And shouldn't we increase the bid too much? Centre-backs on the continent must be a tenner penny. All we need is the scouts to do their job, says Rory. And we need Spain's Williams, says JR. And is Manscaped deal still available? I'm super hairy, says Matthew Frost. Thank you very much. So look, Branthwaite, lots of stories this evening that Man United may well be walking away. I've got to be honest, if we walk away, we walk away. If we get the deal done at the right price, we get the deal done at the right price. Obviously, I would prefer that we get the deal done at the right price, but if we walk away, we walk away. I mean, look, if we miss out on Todibo because of UEFA, it's very frustrating. If we don't get Branthwaite because Everton are greedy, it's very frustrating. But, you know, life's not always fair, is it? Loans and freebies with no buys, says Keel. I think you've been a little bit too negative there. I think we will get deals done. Will we ever get our first, second or third choice player? The gap between the teams will widen, says Oki. Algerian Swede, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. So let's move on to Zirkzee. What's going on with him? Now, Beth did a video at lunchtime. James Ducker saying that Man United are preparing a bid for him. I actually tweeted, I think, at lunchtime, I'd put Zirkzee in the 90% club. And I would. I think everything I've read and everything I've heard is that this deal looks very, very good. And from what I understand, AC Milan had this deal done. Zirkzee expressed an interest in coming to Manchester United when Man United inquired about whether he would be willing to change his mind. We were received with quite receptive responses, so we spent a bit of time talking about a deal and have still been receiving very positive, reactions. So we've got to a point where we're ready to say to Bologna, we'll hit the release clause. So it looks like it's nailed on he's coming to Manchester United, because we've never really been stupid around Zirkzee. We knew he was going to go to Milan, and we were very tentative about, well, we are interested, but only if you're interested. And then Zirkzee's gone, well, I am interested. And it's developed over the last few days to a point where United feel that they can do the deal and therefore will pay Bologna the release clause and put the bid in. And it looks like he's going to be coming to Man United. And to be honest, most of the day, I've been thinking, well, we're going to sign Zirkzee. But then this afternoon, there's been numerous other reports coming out that Milan are still confident. And there's even been talk that he could sway back to Milan if they sign his younger brother, that his agent wants to happen. And I'm like, I know this goes on in football. And to some of you, this might be quite surprising, but this does go on in football. It's not meant to go on in football, but it does. You're not meant to be able to tap up players who are young, but mysteriously, parents of those players end up getting new houses and stuff, even today. And you're not meant to be signing the brother of a player to sweeten a deal. And I don't know whether that's going to happen, but it's just a story that's come out today. And I find myself in a position where I'm going, but hold on a minute, let's just take this back. You're going to Milan, and then we express an interest, and you expressed an interest in coming to us, and we negotiate a deal, and we get to a point where a deal can be done, and then something is going to happen that sweetens the deal for Milan, so you'll go there. Well, fuck off. I mean, I know I've had a few drinks tonight, but seriously, go fuck off. Like, do you want to play for Manchester United, or does a little bit of extra money or a family member being signed by Milan sway you to go to Milan? We're Manchester United. Like, do you want to play for Man United, or is it that thin that you might change your mind because there's a bit more money or a family member getting signed? I mean, it's ridiculous. Hopefully he's signing for Man United. Because if it swings back to Milan's favour for something like that, then what world are we living in now? We're Manchester United. Like, if we enter the race and you want to come to Man United, you sign for Man United. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. Some people think it's hanging by a thread. Some people think it's 50-50. I personally think he's signing for Man United. I just think it's more bullshit. But look, it's Milan's problem why that deal's fallen through. It's not mine. It's not yours either. The reality is that Milan pretty much had that deal done. We're not the first people to hijack a deal. For whatever reason, we've come in late, probably because of the Ten Hag managerial decision. So we've come in late. We've said, are you interested? And look, I know plenty of times that a deal is done or nearly done, and a club just says at the last minute, are you interested? And the player will go, we're so far down the line, I'm actually just going to stick with what I've got. Thanks for the interest. We did it with Roy Keane. He was signing for Blackburn. Kenny Dalglish went on holiday for the weekend. Sir Alex Ferguson swooped in. He was holding up a Man United shirt. So hijacking deals is not unusual, but it doesn't always work out. Well, we've approached Zirkzee and he said, yeah, let's talk. So I'd be very pissed off if, having took the time to hijack the deal and, firm up the interest, if he then ends up going to Milan anyway. But in the modern day, you just never know. Mally O'Reilly, thank you very much for joining the members club. Didn't we do that potentially with Fabio and Rafa? Says Ray. And I don't want him if the agent fees remain. If he wants to come to us, leverage that against the agent fees. If he won't budge, does he really want us? Says Rory C. I hope we're scouting own goal. What heroes he's had, says Sahil. Neil, thank you and welcome to the members club. Neil McGale. And I recommend you Palhinha for your career mode. Now we need him in real life, says JR. And Mojo says, Mark, I agree with walking away with Branthwaite, but with Branthwaite and Todibo both not happening, what centre-back options do we now target, says Mojo. Well, you might have seen my tweet earlier on. I've got to remember the players now. Who was the fourth player? I don't want to go on Twitter. Maguire, McTominay, Rashford, and Anthony. That was it. So I put it out at lunchtime today. Maguire, McTominay, Rashford, and Anthony, all extremely unlikely to leave Manchester United this summer. Now, why are those four players being mentioned? You could add Bruno in there if you wanted, because Man United would listen to offers for any of those players. There's only Garnacho, Mainu, Erasmus, Dalot, Bruno, Onana, and Mount, and a couple of others that really they don't expect to be selling and they don't expect any offers for, and they don't really want to go. But McTominay, Maguire, Anthony, and Rashford, they would listen to good offers for those players. They're happy to keep them, but they would listen to good offers. What I was told today is that very extremely unlikely that Maguire, McTominay, Rashford, or Anthony leave this summer. Mainly because they don't expect the offers to come in, but also they're realistic about time and priorities. For example, we need to bring players in and we need players to go out the door. And the likes of Greenwood, Sancho, Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Eriksen, Van der Beek, and there's a couple of others as well whose name escaped me, are ahead of McTominay, Maguire, Rashford and Anthony in priority to get out. So it's a bit like what Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, we're not going to solve everything in one summer. So as much as some people might want all of those players sold or two or three of those players sold, United are realistic that they're just not going to have the time or the offers to do it this summer. So I would expect all those players to still be here. Now, if Lindelof doesn't go, and there's talk of Lindelof going, then we might only sign one centre-back. The problem is, if Lindelof goes and we sign two centre-backs, where does that leave Maguire? Fourth choice, potentially, because you'd have Martinez, two new centre-backs, Maguire. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but just interesting to keep it in your back pocket. But remember, I told you at the start of March, I was told that Bruno, McTominay and Rashford would all be Man United players next season because they weren't for sale. Jacob Greaves at Hull City is better than Branthwaite by far and about 25% of the price. Ignore him and sign Greaves, says Bin. And I hope our transfer policy changes finally. We don't want Ferraris without engines anymore. How about Polina as CDM? Says right. I like Polina. He's a little bit older and he would be quite expensive, but I've not heard United be linked to him at all. Ash says, could Ineos terminate Todibo's contract and then United sign him on a free? Or have UEFA pricks already thought of that? Yeah, it's all about what you did the season before, mate, so I don't think there's a way around for that. And Peter says, Mark, surely Ineos, with all their hype, should have signed or sold a player by now. Is it me, or does this still feel the same as always with transfers? It's not that long ago that we decided on who the manager's going to be, so I would cut them a little bit of slack. I think the next 10 days are important. I think if we hit the start of July and nothing's happening, we're leaving ourselves a very short period of time to do stuff because we'll be on tour by the 20th of July. So 3 weeks into July. So I do think that we, can cut them a little bit of slack at the moment, but and I know that they're working on a lot of things. As an aside, I hope the Aston Villa Luis deal to Juve falls through because they won't sign his girlfriend. Might collapse the Maatsen deal and screw Chelsea as well, says Rory. Every club knows we're desperate for deals, says Terence. And safe to say England isn't winning the Euros, says Tina. Didn't we do that potential? I've done that one as well. Thanks for all your super chats that are flying in at the moment. Make sure to smash a like on the video and subscribe as always. Absolute legends in the chat. That's weird. It's very weird. Okay. One other thing I was going to bring in as well. We've got quite a lot in here. Let me have a look. Oh my God, please, can I share this? Oh my God, please. Oh, I tell you what, if I could mention this, it'd be hilarious. Oh, I bet he won't let me. Oh, I got it. Ah. I can't. Ah, God, I can't. It's anyway. Let me talk about something else. I want to talk. I'll think about that one. I've been sort of caught on the hop there, live on a stream. You might have seen it earlier. Very, very interesting. I'm going to call this out because, you know, on YouTube, a lot of people think that we're part of brand Rashford, and then on Twitter, people think we're anti-Rashford. So the truth is, I've got nothing against Rashford. I just think he's had a bad season for Man United. I think he'll have a good season next season. But Marcus Rashford had a bad season for Manchester United last season. The Belfast thing obviously happened. For me, I'm not really fussed about that. Mistakes happen. He played for us less than a week later and he scored against Wolves. Some people hold it, as something else. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to tell you what that message is in a minute. Basically, I had an abusive message directed towards me from a member of... let me just read this. Southgate's family, calling me a CUNT because I've been critical of him, basically. Which is not United related, but yeah. Basically saying, nice to see all the support that Goldbridge is giving Gareth and the lads. What a CUNT. But look, mate, I'm giving the England team lots of support. Unfortunately, your manager isn't. But anyway, look, going back to the Rashford stuff. Rashford had a bad season last season and has underperformed and not ended up in an England squad. Some United fans would sell him. Some of us think he can be good next season, but he needs to almost hit the reset button. We've heard that he's going to be off social media for the next few weeks as he focuses on himself. But then his agent / brother tonight puts a Instagram post out saying it's hard to sit and watch when you honestly believe your man could make a difference. And everybody's entitled to do that. Of course they are. Like, you can't say he shouldn't do it because it's his social media. He's entitled to do what he wants to do. You know, nobody should stop that. But my problem with it is you're not expressing an opinion that's just going to bounce back on you. It's going to bounce back on Rashford, and he is trying to have this detox where we hear about he struggles with the social media attention and the negativity, but then as his agent and brother, you're putting out stuff there saying Rashford should be in the England team. And unfortunately, you know, if everybody thought that, it might be some positive PR. But Rashford didn't get picked for England because Anthony Gordon did. And Southgate won't even pick Anthony Gordon. So Rashford's got no chance. Like, I don't think anybody was sat there tonight going, we miss Rashford or we miss Grealish. So it just puts Rashford back into the story at the time where I think he'd be benefiting from not being spoken about. A lot of people had sent me that message and I thought, well, I will mention it because it's not Rashford's fault. He's sort of away doing his own thing. And somebody sort of close to him is saying, oh, you know, it's difficult. And they've got every right to say that they think he should be playing. But anybody who watches England at the moment isn't actually pinning it on the players. We've already got, I mean, Cole Palmer didn't get on. Mainu didn't get on. Gordon didn't get on. Tony didn't get on. You can't say we're missing Rashford when we've got 4 or 5 players on the bench that can't even get in. You've got Trent playing as a holding midfielder. You've got Foden playing on the wing. Like, we're not missing Grealish or Rashford. We're missing a manager. And I'm sure Rashford could do a better job as the England manager if he wants that job. But we're not missing Rashford. That's not the problem with England. So I think making it about Rashford or bringing Rashford into the conversation will probably bring him, I think he just needs that detox at the moment. Southgate eats toast without butter, says Bin. So Jim Ratcliffe's statement coming out right around when one by one our top priorities are slipping away seems sort of spin. Statement seems an effort to get fans on side to subdue the annoyance of missing out on targets, and we haven't sold anyone as yet, says Mojo. Do it, Mark, says Tumbleweed. Be like Nike, just do it, says Rory. And Southgate uses one-ply toilet paper. In fairness to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and look, people will find this quite surprising because everybody knows I wanted a full sale, and everybody knows I think anybody who keeps the Glazers at the club is an enemy of the club in one shape or form. But, I'm willing to get behind Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos because they've kept Ten Hag and they're our owners. And we just have to hope it works because nothing's going to change for a long period of time now. But what I will say is that, look, the Todibo thing is wrong. That's not Ineos' fault. That's just a bad rule. The Branthwaite thing, if we pull out of it, is because Everton want stupid money. If the Zirkzee deal doesn't go through because of some stupid decision to go to Milan because of his brother or a bit extra money, then he's not the right personality anyway. You can't set in place the rules that we want to set in place and then moan when we don't get players that contradict that rule. Like, we don't want to pay stupid wages and transfer fees anymore. And if we don't get Branthwaite because of that, at least we're adhering to the changes that need to be made. If we sign him, then we're doing what we've always done, which is wrong. And if Zirkzee goes to AC Milan because of some agent fee or because of some his brother signs for Milan so he goes there, then it might be disappointing. But from a mentality point of view, we don't want that type of player who's signing us for the wrong reasons. And we don't want to pay stupid agent fees. And in relation to Todibo, if we can't sign him when we want to sign him and he wants to come to us because of UEFA, then whose fault's that? Like, I get the disappointment if we don't get players in, but if the justification for not getting those players fits into the new parameters that we're trying to set up, then we mustn't moan, because if you're just saying get Branthwaite at any price, then we may as well still have the Glazers here. Let's pay silly wages. Let's pay stupid fees. And if we go and get Zirkzee, but if Milan had given his agent a bit more money, he would have gone there, then the mentality question has to be asked as well. We absolutely will improve, but we also need to be patient, and we might have to miss out on some players to get the rules in place. Might be a step back for a step forward in the transfer window, certainly. When Southgate takes a whiz, he wipes his bum too, says Parker. And Anthony plus 20 million for Vinicius Jr., who says no, says Tina. Well, Real Madrid say no. What do you mean deals off for Zirkzee? I've never said that, Vindy. Never said that at all. Maybe listen to what I've said. Definitely. And yeah, that's about it. Let me just check if there's anything else coming in tonight. I thought Guehi played very well for England, but I think we'll be priced out of a deal for him. I know we were looking at him a lot, but I don't think we expected him to be going to the Euros and putting himself in the shop window. We were very interested in Guehi a few weeks ago. What do you think about Mainu and Southgate? Honestly, can I just repeat what I said in March? I know Mainu would want to go and play for England, and I know a lot of you would want him to play for England, and I know wearing my England shirt, I want him to play for England. But as a Manchester United fan, he's just had a very, very intense breakthrough season, and I wish he was sat on a beach in the Maldives or Dubai or America, resting and relaxing for Man United, because he's wasting his fucking time being out there with England. The football's shit. Tactically, he's going to learn nothing. And he's just had to listen to his manager say that Mainu, Wharton and Gallagher aren't as good as Calvin Phillips. Yeah, I wish he wasn't there. I'm glad he's there for him. And I'm glad he's there for me and England fans in the case, you know, it's nice to see him there. But fucking hell, he'd be better off having a month off preparing for Man United because he's being wasted by a waster, basically. He's just wasting his fucking time. He's just on holiday in Germany, isn't he? Admiring fucking Conor Gallagher and Declan Rice. It's just a waste. And that was always my concern, was that I think everybody wants to go and be part of these tournaments, but yeah, I'm not saying it'll do more damage than good, but it's a waste of bloody time. Mojo says, I get your point, Mark. Spot on. Let's improve our ways. I get it. And thanks, mate. Legend. Somebody get Gareth Southgate a fan to like, bruv, says Peter. Dammy says, Mark, we get that you don't like Southgate, but lying is just pathetic, to be fair. What am I lying about? It's very hard to lie when it's an opinion, mate. I don't lie. You just don't like my opinion. You know, calling me a liar would mean I have to lie. And if I'm lying, I'm lying to myself. I'm not lying. It's pretty much said for a very long time that I don't want Southgate anywhere near England or Man United. I think he's a very, very crap coach. As a person, he's probably very, very nice. And I know it's very difficult when you put yourself in the public eye and you get criticised for people who care about you. But, you know, chat shit, get banged. We wanted champagne, but we will get sparkling wine, says Terence Roberts. And yeah. The entire community is asking about Nico Williams and Mark isn't addressing it, says True Crew. I will address it, but I like to talk about stuff that's relevant. We can't afford to pay 60 million for any player this summer. And Nico Williams has a 90 million euro release clause. He's also on big wages, and also no one was talking about him before tonight. So there's three fundamentals there that make it a really irrelevant conversation, really. But I'm happy to talk about it. It's irrelevant to me because the transfer fee we can't afford, the wages we can't afford, and also no one was talking about him 24 hours ago. So you're scouting him based on the Euros. And I've said this for years. Don't scout players based on the World Cup or the Euros because it's a mistake. So he may well end up being a fantastic player, and he was brilliant today. But it's not a player we're looking at. It's not a player that we're going to get. And I don't think it's a player that we can start scouting based off one game. That's my opinion. I mean, if anything credible comes forward, we'll talk about it more, but we're not at the moment. Rory C says, tough question maybe, and never mind actual players. How many new players do you think we'll have in our best 11? I think we're half a team short, Rory. I think we need a right back. I think we need a left back. I think we need 2 centre backs. I think we need 2 midfielders. I think we need a winger and a striker. So that's 7 players. And I think 4 or 5 of them need to go into the first team. That's my feeling. The kid, Dammy, supports Southgate, so we called you a liar. Imagine supporting Southgate. He definitely got bullied in school growing up. No, Tina, look, you know, there are people out there who support Southgate. The mainstream media supports Southgate. A lot, you know, Will, who I do the podcast with, supports Southgate. I don't care if people want to support Southgate or they want to be Ten Hag out or whatever. But, you know, obviously we all overreact a little bit sometimes, but in a very sensible conversation where I haven't had a few Madries, I would still say the same thing. He wouldn't get a job in the Premier League. He's not good enough for the job. And I'm sure it's very difficult when you're getting criticised, but he's had more than 6 years in that job. He's had a good run. Could still win the Euros as well. Branthwaite is a starting centre-back for one of the worst teams in the league. Don't understand why we want him. If he wasn't English, would we even consider it? He's a good player, Bin. He's a good player. I'm not going to have that he's not. Dammy says, nobody from Southgate's family talked about you, and yet I know they did because I've seen the messages. So, yeah. And you're probably the person, to be honest, who's doing the tweet, who's doing the messages now. And you need to get to bed because you've got school tomorrow. Peter says, we love Drunk Bridge. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Please talk about United. I finished, mate. I finished. You've got probably another 18 minutes longer than I intended to be, because I've had a very long evening tonight. I'm back on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, and I will speak to you all tomorrow. Absolute legends. If you were on the That's Football streams, we're loving doing the watch-alongs there. Peter's just gifted a membership. The Irish Legend says the reason you haven't won anything is because of him. You had half a decent coach, you'd win the Euros. So happy we didn't end up getting him, says the Irish Legend. And Jack says, always thought Williams is a good prospect, but yeah, no chance we can pull 60 million out our arse. That's the reason why we ain't getting Branthwaite. Thanks, Jack. Absolute legends tonight. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit.